Alright, enough already with the HDR1 monitors. Where can I get a monitor that actually gets bright, has a super high resolution, a great refresh rate, and a clear glossy screen? Well, as it turns out, at MSI's booth during CES 2026, which, before we jump into this absolutely hulking, throbbing hunk of a display, I want to let you know that this video and my CES coverage is sponsored by MSI, which makes travel hurt a whole lot less. So I'll have affiliate links in the description below once these monitors are available. Thank you to MSI, but enough already. Let's pencil dive into the deep dark hole of monitor hopium. So let's start off with what I'm most excited for at their booth, and that's a 5K mini LED display that has just about everything I've been asking for. The monitor in question is the MPG 271 KRA-W16, and this thing is a 27-inch 5K, yes, you've heard me correctly, 5K 165 Hz, actually dual mode display, so you can either run full resolution at 165 or 1440p at 330 frames per second. But here's where it gets interesting. It also, on top of all that goodness, still has over 2,300 zones with 2304 to be exact, which is around double what typical mini LED monitors come with, and that's going to matter a lot for the contrast. It's going to make it just a lot better looking all the way around. Now, they're using a rapid IPS panel, so you shouldn't have as many issues when it comes to viewing angles and other problems that TN can have. I did also get a chance to check the motion clarity, and what I saw was pretty good performance, at least in SDR. Now, I'm not entirely sure once they get the final version of HDR working, as HDR didn't seem to be working quite correctly yet, if the local dimming will make it appear worse. But so far, both in SDR and HDR in the current state, I did drag some windows all over the place, including some light windows against dark backgrounds and dark images across light backgrounds, and I didn't see any obvious smearing. Of course, not as clear as OLED in motion, but overall pretty good. And I did also check to see if there's any, I guess, vignetting on the sides of the screen, or if it looked like it was kind of darkening on those sides. And yes, there was a bit, but it's far from the worst I've ever seen. And as a whole, the clarity was absolutely insane. I'll show you a little bit of footage here, but yeah, this one is going to be really hard to beat when it comes to the clarity. Of course, it's going to have G-Sync support, DisplayPort 2.1, 98% DCI-P3 coverage, a delta E of less than 2, so it should be very, very accurate. And here we go, DisplayHDR 1400. So as you can see, very high resolution at 5K, tons of zones for great contrast, at least in theory. It definitely looked good in person. And you're also getting 1400 nits of brightness, and this isn't in a 1% window. This thing should be very, very bright, and I'm very excited to get my hands on it, hopefully pretty soon. However, it looks like this is going to come in at a price of $899, and in terms of release date, be available around Computex 2026, so late May or early June. Now, there is an MAG model, which is very similar in a lot of its specs. I'll throw an image up on screen, but unfortunately, well, this one is only 75 Hz at the native resolution, and it's 300 Hz at the 1440p resolution, so yeah, native is going to be, that's a little weird, but it is still going to be very, very fast. And the ability to quadruple the frame rate at that 1440p resolution is actually really cool. And you know what? It's coming in at a much lower price. The last one's nearly $900. This one's going to be $499. So way cheaper, similar release timing there. Now, the next monitor that's absolutely crazy is the MSI MEG-X. Now, I'm assuming that's not the final name, but this thing is going to be a 34-inch, 3440 by 1440, 360 Hz, 1800R curved QD-OLED monitor with a 5th gen RGB stripe panel. It's going to be using the dark armor coating for better ambient light handling, and it's going to have a True Black 500 rating. You should be seeing up to around 1300 nits of brightness and around probably 300 nits or more in a 100% window. So this is effectively the same as the X36 model that I just released a review on. However, this comes with a ton of AI features. You'll have to pause and take a look at this, because I know everyone's jamming AI down your throat, but this one, if it delivers, might actually be interesting, and I wouldn't be surprised if professional gamers make use of some of these if they don't increase the input latency, because it does allow for enemies to be more visible in dark areas. It can actually reduce the flashbang effect. It also has AI Vision Plus, which apparently is going to have some sort of smart brightness adaptation for clearer details, AI Scene, AI Gauge, and AI Scope. So again, I encourage you to take a closer look, because I actually think these might be useful, unlike a lot of other AI stuff out there that kind of seems like a gimmick. I felt the same about their last monitor. At first, I was like, I don't know about this AI stuff, but then I tried it, and the AI cross crosshairs, as well as the ability to turn off the display when you walk away. Actually pretty useful. Now, the price for this thing, I believe, is rumored to be around $1,699 and have a release date around Computex once again, much like the last couple of ones. But now let's move on to the Pulsar monitor. Now, if you haven't seen this, it's going to be a 360 Hz LCD. I just released a review on one from Asus. This is MSI's version, and spoiler alert, and depending on how you measure it, this does technically give you better motion performance than even a 500 Hz OLED, while only having to drive it at 360 Hz because it can strobe the backlight, and that actually allows the image to look far more clear in motion. Now, there's a lot that I could go into this, but I do urge you to watch reviews on these to get the full picture. It's really incredible, actually, what they've been able to do, but no, it's not OLED or mini LEDs. So this is for competitive gaming, but this will be available for around $650 and should be available, I believe, actually now. So I'll have an affiliate link in the description below for this one, assuming you can actually buy it. Hopefully you can. But then we have the Pro Max monitors from MSI, which you can think of these more of a workstation or professional type of monitor, and they should have improved compatibility with Mac OS, or at least they'll, look pretty good next to one, I think. Now, the one that I want to talk about today, they have a ton, and I'll show you some B-roll, but the one that definitely caught my eye was the Pro Max 271 UPX W12G. Now, this is a 27-inch 4K 120 Hz pure black QD-OLED, I believe they were calling it. That was interesting to me because, let's tackle the elephant in the room here. Why is it 120 Hz? I get it. This is more for professional use. Maybe it helps bring the cost down, but I feel like we should let everyone have 240 Hz. So MSI, please jump this up to 240 Hz if you still can. Yeah, 120 Hz, it's fine, but 240 Hz is awesome, even for work. So please bump that up. But the pure black QD-OLED, that was interesting because I do believe this is coming with the new coating that does improve ambient light handling. That's really awesome, as this is the first one that I've personally seen in the 27-inch size. So if you're looking for a QD-OLED with much better ambient light handling at 27 inches, this might be interesting to you, although this one, unfortunately, sound the alarm, has a matte panel. So, I'm not going to be buying it. I hope they do update it to a glossy panel as well. Why are we holding out on people? Give them 240 Hz and glossy for their professional monitors. But regardless, I'm sure there'll be a ton of Mac users out there that'll be very interested in giving this a try. It should come with a delta E of less than 2, so it should be very accurate, and apparently comes with M color mode, allowing seamless color synchronization with MacBook devices, and it should be coming in at $750, likely once again late May or early June. But let me know in the comments below which of these looks the most interesting to you. For me, it's the 5K glossy mini LED, because I could not believe that they had a glossy mini LED at 165 Hz with so many zones and such high brightness. I'll definitely want to give that one a try, so stay tuned, and also stay tuned for all my other CES coverage, because there's a ton coming over the coming days and even weeks. There's a lot, so get ready.